Did you know Jesus defines Holy Spirit? In Mark chapter 13, verse 11, the yellow highlighted text that you see, Jesus teaches sometimes the words people say are not their own words. The words are from or by Holy Spirit. And in Matthew chapter 10, verse 20, Jesus teaches, Holy Spirit is our Father's word speaking from your mouth. Now, I did some editing in the blue and green highlighting, and the word in, and I had to add the word through, because we have 4 examples of our Father's words. The first example, Luke chapter 1, verse 67, tells us when Zacharias declared John's the Baptist's life, these words had to be said by our Creator, for he prophesied John's life. The second example we have is Luke chapter 1, verse 41, when out of Elizabeth's mouth she declared, Mary's son is blessed. These 2 verses prove their words were our Creator's words coming from their mouths. The third and fourth example are in Luke chapter 12, verse 12, and Matthew chapter 12, verse 28, where Jesus teaches our Creator's words will be said in their mind, and then they are to say his words. Other examples of our Creator's words coming to their mind are in the Hebrew text, where the prophets are being told to go out, and then our Creator will tell them what to say. Thus, Jesus teaches us there is no Trinity. All right. I'll get started on chapter 19 here, but first I want to show you the king's timeline, and Isaiah is from these 2 kings. I believe it's more or less part way through Jotham here, or Jotham. So that's what you have to be aware of. He's in the nation Judah, and this is the nation Israel, and they're going to be sent into captivity. And I believe it's right about here that these go into captivity, these tribes, and then later there's no king and then all of a sudden there's a king, and then there's them leaving again. So the thing here is I have to be aware of maybe there's text in here of the prophecy of these leaving next. So that's saying that. I also want to show people what, oops, I guess I forgot to get that text out. What I try to do is review what I've found already in the previous chapter. So let me open that up and show you. Here is chapter 18, and it is a 4-verse format, and then I'm going to have to show you what a 3-verse format looks like as well. I know I've got them above my head right here, but I think I need to explain a little bit more, such as I need 2 words here that in each verse, and then I try to connect them with the least amount of small words to make a verse out of them. Then what happens is these 2 here are connecting together, and these 2 here are connecting together, and then together they make a paragraph, and then another paragraph comes about here. So then these 2, I usually put an extra space in between them to show that these 2 connect together to make like a larger paragraph. A 3-verse format, like what's up here. Same thing about the two major words, but this becomes a statement, and these 2 define the statement. And then, as you can see, these 2 are grouping together. So there's something missing above this text. That's what I'm doing here. And I'm also trying to, when I'm editing the text, like you see here over to the bottom, there's the books that I've already done. I'm trying to compile them into one book to have the correct order of what happened. So it's working out real good right now, because within the text itself kind of lets me know the placement of the wording. Now, I've said before, this is a pagan word. That's how they describe them as oracles, and visions come from our Creator. But the only thing here about this doesn't sound right. Behold, YV is riding on a swift cloud. You know our Creator does not need a cloud to ride on. Okay? It would be a vision concerning Egypt from YV. Okay, now that's if I was going through here and going to use this. And then this here, you know I can't use any of this. Now I go on to look for more text that might make this truthful. Otherwise, I need to get rid of it. It is about to come to Egypt. The idols of Egypt will tremble at his presence, and the heart this is all not true. None of this is true. Now let's see if I can find anything else here. So I will incite the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they will fight against his brother and against his neighbor, and a city against city, kingdom against kingdom. Well, if there's an Egypt, there's no kingdom against kingdom. So then the spirit of the Egyptians will be demoralized, confound their strategy, so that they will resort to idols, the ghosts of the dead, and the mediums and spirits. No, our Creator does not want, the Creator is using the nation Israel as his example of how he would like us to be obedient to our Creator, and to have and live by how they lived, to have the ability to be forgiven, to enter into Jesus's kingdom. So this is just not anything he would say. More, I'll deliver the engines cruel, or Egyptians. We know that never happened. We have history behind us. Waters of the sea will dry up. Nope, that's not true either. Nope, this will be gone too. And this is not true either. Oops, I didn't cut these sentences yet. Okay. And the fishermen will lament, and all those who cast a line into the Nile will mourn. And those who will spread nets, and those who spread nets on the water will pine away. Well, we know that that's not true. The manufacturers of linen made from flax, and their weavers' white cloth will be utterly dejected. We know that's not true. The pillars let me bring this down a little bit to get all the text on here. Let me see, because that's getting a little small on the screen. Let me see, layout. This one here, no paragraph, no page setup. What I want to do is, it's already at 4 inches, so I can't change that. The pillars of Egypt will be crushed. All the hired laborers will grieve in the soul. We know it doesn't have anything to do with that. The princes of Zoan are mere fools, and advice of Pharaoh's wise as fires come stupid, how the men will say, Pharaoh, I'm the son, how can they say I'm a son of a wise man? Nope, that isn't text there that's needed to be written or goes with Judah, so, or even Israel. Our Creator has something against Egypt, yet I got text that when they go into Babylon and then they're sent, when Judah's Israelis go into Babylon, when they're returning, the king seems to have advisors in Egypt, and when they hear why would Babylon send them back, and then they found out that they're to rebuild his house, they called in Ezra and asked him. Ezra was a scribe, so he knew the text, and he told them that he too has heard word, and they're going to rebuild the house, and probably told them the rumors that they're hearing of the, or had heard of what Daniel and his buddies up there did, where our Creator made himself known. And then the Egyptians kind of agreed that happened here before, so let's take that into consideration. And they're going to send Ezra with more money to help build his house and the city of Jerusalem back together. So none of this is that he's against Egypt. He is going to allow Egypt to give them money to help rebuild their promised land. So because the amount of money that they were given, I'm sure that it was going to help more than just the rebuilding of this house. Memphis is Cairo. You would know it as Cairo. This is nothing. This is not true. This is not true. Now, I'm not going to read them all out. You can read them later, because I'm thinking this is not true. That's not true. We become a terror to Egypt. No, he's not proposing anything against them, or proposing. It would be a prophecy against them. This word here is text that was added in the 1977 NSAB Bible text, and I highlight that, and I think I've got, just from the 24 books, not all of them, over a couple thousand, so I'm saying that there's probably been added right around 6,000 words. Some other times I've saying up to 9, but I really don't know. I just know there's an awful lot of text. Sometimes I get 50 words in one chapter. It's rare, but it does happen. This, why would they have a pillar to YHVH near its border? No, I can't use that text, even though it has a savior. See, now he's going to make himself known. He doesn't need to do that. After Babylon is such a huge, what would I say, kingdom. It was a lot larger than just Egypt. So, and there was more people there too as well. So, And why would they want to return to YV? I don't see that. I don't see that. This is not true. Never happened, as far as I know. And that's why I'm working the books backwards, because it's pretty obvious that the text that I know that's going to happen is already in my head, and I've got a lot of stories going that I know that's going to be truthful. I've been doing this for now 29 years, and there was one time 5 years in a row, 10 to 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, for those five years that I worked on our Creator's Hidden format. And that is in the description, in the YouTube description. And you'll enjoy reading that, because that is a message from our Creator. In fact, that text becomes so accurate when I show you this. Oh, I shut it off. Instead of showing you, keep it. This timeline of kings. I mean, this is so accurate, and how accurate these numbers are right now is stunning. This one I didn't have to change. All these others I only had to change one digit to make it true. That's what was stunning about it when I went to build this timeline up. But it did take me a long time to do that, because I was working on it, and then I didn't have the answers, and I had to go adjust the stories to find out what was true, which kings were true and which kings were not true. And that is a lot of work that is what I was supposed to do. I am Jesus's prophecy. I am the helper. So that's why I'm recording these for history, to know what I did and where I got them. And the year the commander came to this is in Israel. Now let's see. I went to make all these maps work, so let's see. Where's this one here? These cities are located right here. They used to be the cities for the Philistines when they got into the promised land, but they ran them out, and Judah was only about this big. And then this was brought or conquered, or land was gathered by Saul. And then, but the thing here is there another map here into the promised land? Nope. Nope. And that's just it. I've here, maybe it's on this map. Yeah, here. Okay, these are the cities here. Okay. So this was the time that Saul come down and took the Amaleks, or really pushed them out, didn't kill them all, kept the animals, didn't listen to our Creator. Our Creator changed his mind and was going to give the descendants from David, King David, as rulers over all Israel, as one in the promised land. So now this, they're saying, is the king of Assyria. But he has to be taking a tribe to conquer. So this can't be true. And go and loosen that sackcloth. And loosen your hide. I don't know why he would loosen your hide. Go wear old clothing on your body and take your shoes off your feet. So he did so. And he went naked and barefoot. Okay, this is going to be, I think there's enough here for the story I got to work, because here, YHVH said, even as my servant Isaiah has gone naked and barefoot for a year as a sign against Egypt and Cush. This, I think, is going to be like Ethiopia. So the king of Assyria will lead away the captives of Egypt. I don't think so. Because they didn't get through, Assyria didn't get to take over Judah. So this is getting a little bit wrong here. So naked and barefoot with buttocks uncovered to shame Israel. And they will be dismayed and ashamed, because their hope of Egypt was their boast. So the inhabitants of this coastline will say that day, behold, such is our hope, where we fled for help, to be delivered from the king of Assyria. And I think I have to throw all this out, because the prophecies already I've done, that doesn't talk about them going quite naked, but this would have been Israel, the tribe Israel, taken. These, like I said, went into captivity in this king's timeline. So let me get this a little bit closer. In this timeline here, you can see that he loses these tribes, and then they come back. But then he hears a rumor. Isaiah's going to talk to our Creator. He's going to turn this commander away from the gates of Jerusalem to send them back. And that's when we know that the rumor has to be Babylon and Assyria are going to war. So how can they get to Egypt? See, that's how, when you understand the stories, this becomes untruthful. Now this is not true. And this would be if this changes to captives from Israel, and Israel, since I have different ways to help the reader read the text, this is how bad Israel is represented. All capital letters would be when they're good. So this has to be the correct answer here. The captives from Israel. The king for Assyria. Yeah, it's got to be the commanders. The commander will lead away the captives. So this king is wrong. For Assyria. Now we know that's right, because the king didn't come down and do this. And let's get this. Will lead away the captives from Israel. There's this. The young and old, naked and barefoot. And we know that would be already true. This be like the shaming in Egypt. So this is now telling us that, yeah, this can be corrected in this here. Okay. So now you know that when Assyria took them away, they stripped them down and sent them like the shaming in Egypt. That's when they gathered them from wherever they were at and brought them as slaves and made them slaves under one king. So that's what they done when they brought them down. So, I don't need this. YV prophesied. Through Isaiah, a son from Amos, prophesied through Isaiah, commanding him to commanding him to. It seems like it's kind of like walk around, go around. Not loosen. And we know it's going to be, if he's going to be naked, he's got to be. But is this true? This country can't be the same. So okay, this is correct. I was really trying to make sure that the text, I have to have them naked and barefoot. Okay. So now this up here, then, this has to be remove. Having him to live, I think, would be the best word. And then that way he's not just walking around all over the place, but he has to do this going outside when he goes outside. So let's see here. Live. I think I can't say that it's within the intent of the word go. I'm really creating the situation here. Remove. On to go. On to live. By removing his hides. Sometimes they're called garments, sometimes they're hides. That's skins of rams and goats, which means he was all white. Everybody had this white clothing appearance from way back at least Noah's time. So that's how they knew that when they were coming through that they were all Hebrews. That's why everybody knew them. So it was the way they lived, and very proud of it. And this is not true. So I can put this. I think this is going to end up being it's a 3 verse. So this is going to be the comma. This is going to be the period. And here I'm going to use the word remove. And remove is, and I don't think they called them, Jesus wore sandals, so these have to be sandals. Sandals. Period. Get rid of all these words real quick. Okay. Now these two are going to connect together. So he did live. I did live. This was by going. This has to be around. Whoops, not that. That. But that's the best I can do to make this. But I've already got him all this. Already, it's already here. This is just a doubling of words, so I'm going to get rid of it. I know it says that he did, but he's supposed to. It's on our Creator commanded him. So we know he would. Then it would have to be then YV prophesied. Then YV. Then YV prophesied to him It's a lot easier when you have the story to be able to do these. When one of you prophesied, he was a sign this has to be like this. And this can't be true. So then one of you prophesied to him, even as my servant has gone naked. See, and what we're leaving out of the conversation is who, and it's Israel. They've destroyed so much. This would have to be like as Isaiah has lived. Has lived. Even as my servant, as Isaiah has lived. So I'm not sure I need even as my servant, as Isaiah lived. Well, we've got Israel down here. So these two, okay, yeah, that's disconnect. So it's this one here, and it's going to get around here. So, it's only going to take them a year to travel, so I can get rid of the word 3 and put in a. A year as a sign. Oh, lead them away and barefoot. This has to be that as a group. And let me do this to make this smaller so I don't think I've got 2 there. But this would be 2 here. So this is making a 3 verse. So I've got to have 2 verses here. So I need this, and then I gotta say this, and then I gotta get not like against. Then YV prophesied to him, even like, not even, just. That's what's throwing me off. Just as that needed to be done, so it's just. This will be our Creator's words, just as my servant Isaiah has lived, naked and barefoot, here as a sign. Now this has to be looked at as this, and then there's going to be 2 here. Okay, I got to look up these words. I got to figure out what token is and see if there's better words to use than that. 3. Well, this is 20. That's what's going on. I was going to say, I'm not thinking I've read. Where did I, what am I doing here? So let's get to the right chapter. Token as a symbol, as a sign, and a symbol against us. So let me go back here. I keep forgetting which mouse here is which. And okay, naked and barefoot. If I do this as a sign and symbol, just take a look at the word token here again. Yeah. Let's see what the word sign does here. Now that is, yeah, it's used as sign or signs more than 70 times. Everything else is just one word. So I have to use the word sign as a sign and symbol. I have to add the word for here to continue it, to make it read smoothly here. Naked and barefoot. I'm not going to have them walking barefoot for 3 years. I know it's going to be, I'm going to put it as 1 year. Here as a sign and a symbol. As a sign and I'm going to add the word a as a sign and a symbol. For the commander of Assyria will lead away the captives from Israel, the young and old, naked and barefoot, like the shaming in Egypt. Okay, now I should have 2 here. Okay, better save all that. Yeah, sorry, I just seen your comment here. I don't have a timeline to know how long you've been there, sorry. What I'm doing is finding the first writer's formats in the Bible that are hidden. Here, let me put up some examples over me and show you. These are Psalms, okay, that I've already done. But what I've got here is some text I've already done. And this is what, let me try to find a spot here that I can show you. Okay, there are 2 formats that happen here when I'm reading and find text, and when I find a lot of text it becomes like this. What I did Psalms 1 through 8, I found these very short verses, okay, and what I mean by short verses is I'd find one word and a second word and then connecting them with the smallest or least amount of small words. And you can see that what I've done here, and what I need to add, I add it in gray text. But you can see that, and then these connect together, okay? That's how well written it is. And then what happens, all of this becomes like a small paragraph when you read it. The thing here is this paragraph here goes with this paragraph so well that I call them a larger paragraph, and then I put a double spacing between this group to show that it repeats. Now this is, there's really 2 mainstays of formats that they used. And then this one, let me separate this so it doesn't have that line here. What happens in this one, I still have the 2 words, okay, but the only thing is that the first one is a statement, and these 2 define that statement. So it will happen just as I planned, so it will stand. That's the statement, okay? And again, these 2 connect together, and then it'll connect together again. What I have here is a bunch of pieces right now from Isaiah. I'm doing the book of Isaiah. And then what happens is these formats, I'll put the 3-verse formats together and 4-verse formats together and try to connect the story completed. Because a lot of times I can go, example, here's chapter 14, part 3, and then you can see there was no text. I completely threw out 15 and 16 because it was just babbling about Moab, which has been, the kingdom of Moab has been gone since the day Moses killed him. And this here timeline for Isaiah is being said that he's in about the 14th year he comes on stage as a prophet. So then he is prophesying for these two kings, and those are Judah on this side, this is Israel on this side. So these are the two kingdoms. And it's talking about these guys, how they're going to be being led away when Assyria comes down to take them into captivity. So what I just got done editing here, see how much I had to remove? Let me show you here what I do next. What I do is say, okay, I'll take this, and when I clean it up, and it becomes clearer when I do it this way. And I don't know why the macro's not working. It should leave me like that, so I can push this next one. And then it saves me a lot of time. And then you can see the text that I've got here. YV prophesied. Now I use 2 letters for our Creator's name. And then he prophesied through Isaiah, a son from Amos, commanding him to live by removing his hides, his garments, and remove his sandals. Then YV prophesied to him, just as my servant Isaiah has lived, naked and barefoot, 1 year, as a sign and a symbol, for the commander of Assyria will lead them away, the captives will lead away. It has to be our captives. I'm sorry, I'm so used to editing all the time. I need to do this. Our captives from Israel, young and old, naked and barefoot, like the shaming in Israel. Now here, those two would connect. Those two connect. Then there's this double spacing. So I need a double spacing here. And you can see now I've got a very truthful story of what's going on. Now, the Psalms that you see there's a few different formats. I don't know, the Psalms is kind of different because it has what maybe there's only like 1% of other type of formats that actually exist in the Hebrew side of the text. Now my intro, not today, but my intros, I try to point out why I'm doing this. So let me get to that. See, what I did was when I started studying the text 30 years ago, I found that there are actually 12 commandments that are found in Exodus 21 through 17. And then I also found that if I change this one word here in Exodus 26, verse 26, these boards here, or planks, defined a hip roof. There's 5 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now they left out the ones that join it together because I counted every one of the boards. Like I said, I've been doing this a long time. Now, what is going on when I'm showing this? is because when I read the 1611 preface, that's the translator's words before you actually read the text. They gave like 4 different ways of why anyone can edit the text. And it's funny because they wrote it is by the light and feeling we have attained unto ourselves. Okay? So that's kind of odd that they would write something like that. But then here's gets more curious. A great clerk, Gregory the Divine, and notice the capital D on divine. Now that doesn't sound like the good guys, does it? Then here, the first Roman emperor corrected the calendar and the order of the year according to the course of the sun. But notice the sun is actually got a capital letter on it, S. That's them giving respect to the sun god Ra from Egypt. Okay, and the story behind this, what was the calendar before then? And I usually tell people that when Nebuchadnezzar ended up got done eating grass, he said, the Israeli God is the God of all gods, he's the highest God. So then he put his whole kingdom on our Creator's calendar, which is the summer solstice as the first day of the year. And then here, to make it even stranger, they say, lastly, and the reward for studying thereof. So when you're reading the Bible, the next text thereof, studying that text, your reward is to have a fellowship with the saints and a participation of a heavenly nature. And I bet you, if you were to read the Bible, you'd be kind of looking for how did our Creator communicate with the tribe of Israel, and how do we get to heaven? Not so much that we're going to have a participation of a heavenly nature. There's no such thing as a heavenly nature once you understand our Creator is, and everything that is out here is him. Okay, that's why there's nothing that you can find a fault with. Everything is perfect. So that's what I'm doing in the short run. And then what I'm doing is I'm doing these books and I'm combining them together. Let's see, that's the book list. That's books that I got to have done. Okay, let me go in here and show you this. These are the books I've already done, and I've compiled them. And I've made myself some notes. But just like Obadiah, this is actually text of David's last battle, and it's just a piece of the text of him speaking about his battle. So these pieces that I've done that are at the end of the prophets, you would think that they're talking about the returning of Israel to the promised land. But all this text I don't have that way. Let me see here, because all of a sudden I do have Daniel. All this is not before Daniel. Daniel is, if you want to try Daniel yourself, you'll find it's a 3-verse format. Boy, I gotta do this a little faster. This is Malachi. Habakkuk. Jeremiah. Okay. Now, Jeremiah is a very long book, but it starts out, and I don't know who the prophet is at this time that talks about this. But the only thing is I'm combining it, and I've got the stories in the correct order. And the correct order usually starts out, let's see, I've got noted that this dates the text. It says from the land far away, and what they're talking about is not knowing whether Babylon or Assyria has won the battle yet. And then later it will say the word Babylon, and then all of a sudden it'll mention Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. So that's how these verses are compiled to begin to put the text correctly in order for the book that I'm creating here. Now, where is, come on, now, Jeremiah's pretty long. I think it had like 60. There's 36. Wow. Nope. This is Daniel. This is some beautiful text when you read Daniel. And only one chapter didn't fit for Daniel. But this is the format, that statement and these two connect together. All you got to do is copy Daniel from any Bible and then just start editing the text, and you'll be throwing out words all over the place. And the more you do this, the more you keep going through the text over and over. Just say chapter 1, you might spend maybe an hour just to get to the knowing that these are how these work, and you might have them grouped differently. But then all of a sudden, when you start saying, well, these words grouped together as a paragraph, then you'll start doing that. Then you'll start making all the rest of them that way, and you'll see that they do break down that way. So, but this is Nebuchadnezzar, or, you know, the story of Daniel, and this was, there was not, I would say, over editing like what you're seeing me do here. Let's see here, because let me go up here. Let me bring this text down a little bit, because if I take you up here, those were the verses that were just thrown out. And then you can see how heavy of an editing I have to do. But me, I've been doing this for 30 years. So, or truthfully 29 and some months, years that I've been doing this. So it's easy for me to edit the story correctly. Now I showed you the 12 commandments. There is also, Jesus tells us or defines what is Holy Spirit. And a lot of people don't know what Holy Spirit is. I've been on the internet. My webpage was up before there was 9 million web pages on the internet, if you can believe that. That was in early 1995. But Jesus here in these two verses tells us it's not you who speaks, but the Holy Spirit. And then down here, the Spirit of your Father who speaks. Now, in you or through you. So there's examples here. These two examples, Zacharias prophesies, Elizabeth tells about Mary, how blessed her son in her womb is. She couldn't know that. That has to be prophesied. So she didn't say it. I had to change it to prophesied. So there is the words that our Creator just, his words come right out your mouth. Then down here, in this verse here, this is his words. It will be teaching you that hour what to say in your mind. And then this is kind of relating how Jesus has this, him speaking in his head to cast out demons. Like, cast out these, cast out them, go ahead and cast out whoever you want. But the thing here is even in the prophets are sometimes just like, in fact, I was just doing one where he says, go walk barefoot and naked. And then later he tells them why he did it, and they'll prophesy. Sometimes it was like, I know the one, I think it's Jeremiah, that's go to the potter hut. And when you get there, watch, and then the words come to his head that, what are you seeing? And he said, I just watched a potter and it didn't work out. And he just recreated. Then he told him the prophecy that I'm going to remake Judah all over again. So have many examples of what is Holy Spirit. If there's any other question you have, I'm willing definitely to answer your question. Because these take about an hour and a half to do sometimes. And then I'm done. And like this is the third one today because these chapters have got to get done. And you can see I'm about done. This one's only got 3 verses here to go. So, in fact, yeah, because I canceled out this one here, I'm doing 19 and 20 together. So, and I'm recording it for history for people to understand. I'll tell you right now, our Creator made me see him 8 times. And in the description below, under the text over here off to the side, on YouTube, I have many videos. Actually, one how a male can visit another dimension of time and space and know they have a soul, and about afterlife. And I go into great detail because I also say that's how our Creator made me see him 8 times, or 7 of the 8 times. And it's also being done by other males around the earth here. So the witnessing of that, I have to explain what mankind really is to you. Let me start with this one here. This is 2 examples of the daughter of a foreign god here, and this is Isaiah calling her the Queen of Heaven, okay, and how they're making cakes for her and stuff like that. But over here it's kind of curious because it's talking about Judah the nation has married the daughter of the foreign god. Well, married the goddess of the foreign god. So how do you marry the daughter of a foreign god? Well, you have to sit and meditate, and on a crescent moon day, this is Ra, the sun god, on a crescent moon day, and this here is Athena, I believe, in Rome. So this is her with the moon goddess, or moon, the time. And if you ever seen on the Islamic flags that left-handed crescent moon, that is the day that they have a sex if they're meditating. Don't try it. You could die if you don't do it right. But what happens is once a year, a male's maleness can retract inside his body. That's why I call them mankind. These are the symbols of a female's rosebud turning into a sword-like, about 1.5 inches long, and looks like a sword and flat. This guy here, he's on the side of the Vatican. So, in fact, in the Super Bowl halftime, their goddess rose up from the middle, and the song here that was sung at that halftime was 1 world and 2 people that know this practice and people that don't know this practice. But the Buddhists, or these guys, are really Taoist. Here, or not Taoists, but monks from Tibet. And there's that day that this maleness retracts inside your body, Halloweeny time, by the way, there's also a bubble that goes around your body, and what these guys have learned is how to, on that day, is to let that come out your head, and they're dead then. Their body dies, and they ascend into what they were thinking was a star in heaven. Now, the Tibetan monks also had learned how to pop it out their head, and here's this god that they treat as a god, and this is on high in the Tibetan mountains, that there would be all these bodies up there. And what happens when you're that high up in elevation, if you tore up a piece of grass maybe the size of your hand, it might take 700 years for that to fill in. So there was bodies, all these mummies, mummified bodies all over the mountains. And in this show called the Tibetan Mummy, it was on, what was it, the History Channel? Yeah, it was on the History Channel or Discovery Channel. But the Chinese went up there and burnt all those bodies off. So there's no more of this going on. But the Chinese Taoists pop it out through their forehead. So there's, I know this is all new to you because it's the hidden behind the scenes that they've always, you've probably heard Illuminati's, one world government, Big Brother. Well, since 1995, when I told them that the repeatable path of how our Creator made me see Him in that video I'm talking about, Proof of Afterlife, they repeated it, and our Creator made them see them. And ever since 1995, the letter X has been run on your television ads every year, a month before Halloweeny time. Now, it's spread through, now that started spreading, but I know it was completely done by 2006. And then I seen by 2010 it went through Europe. And when I seen the Taoists doing it, making movies out of in China, saying to stop the practice, I know the letter X is being run over there as well. These weird characters I just told you about, well, now there's X-Men that are now good guys helping the humans, and we got the bad X-Men. So there's actually a war going on between them, the who's right and who's wrong, and they will be proven wrong once they are told to experience this, one of them, to be able to, because you're actually, they try to kill you out there. But then our Creator will make you see Him, and He makes your eyes open back up on the earth. I explain all that in that but I also tell everybody it's safe enough for 13-year-old males to do it 3 times, but you actually only need to do it once. So I need to continue here with what I'm doing, but I know that was a lot, but that just lets you know that when I say our Creator made me see Him 8 times, I do know a lot more than most people. A whole lot more. So it's not bragging, it's just the truth. Now, if they're going barefoot and naked, like the shaming of Egypt, they will be dismayed and ashamed. I'm going to look this word up on my Bible program here. And what I can do is when I click on a word, it shows me the Hebrew Strong's Concordance. This is the New American Standard Concordance. And they just changed the lettering of the words, but kept all in order. But what's unique is they tell you how many times they used that word that way. So what I use here is when I go on to the word dismay. I look to see if I find a better one. Shattered. Their life has been shattered. Or are they frightened and ashamed? Terrified is being used 8 times. I think the word terrified is better here than dismayed. So I will use that. Terrified and ashamed. But this is not true. The Cush is supposed to be like Ethiopia, okay? And Egypt is another kingdom, but or it could mean the city that they were in, like in Egypt. When I put like the shaming on Egypt, this might, yeah, here it was here as well. So Cush, because like at Cush they had hope in Egypt, but that doesn't define. This has already been said, except for this part here. This has been said. So what I'm looking for is maybe the 2 more sentences down here. And I've literally found one sentence, and then I think it was like 16 verses like this. And then I found the next 2 that connected with it. Like, that's just stunning. But that's why I know the guys started rewriting for their God at this time. This king here, he started meditating and having sex with the so-called female goddess, and he made a carving of his goddess and put it in our Creator's meeting room with him. So that means the priests were all having this practice, which means all of Judah had married the daughter of the foreign god. So that's what that's what happened at his time. So it has to be the scribes were also that way, and they started taking all the text that they could gather, and that would have been scrolls that they had where you cannot erase something, because you know that they would change it. On a scroll you can't do that, that's a hide. And then they would rewrite it on paper. Let me show you something about that hide. This is written, they say, in the largest manuscript. But the only thing is this is Egypt's way of doing it. But you notice that if you see this is like 4,800 years old, 4,300 years old. But look at how clean and clear this is. So we could have had the text completely, but they went and took pieces at this time and started making the text like what we see. I've got proof of them knowing the format when they put pieces together. There's some that actually are written like these formats, but they're totally wrong. And then when they put them all together, you can see that all this here that has been added between it, rewritten, and you gotta remember here, they've had like 300 years, something like that, to do that. 400 years maybe, to be able to write all these other words in and around and change things. But I'm trying to find the first writers' formats that are beautiful. Nobody even writes like that today, but you can see they do appear. when there is text to be said correctly. They'll be terrified and ashamed, for they'll say in that day, well, we will be delivered to Assyria. How will we escape? They will be terrified and ashamed. This is wrong. They would know it's the promised land. They would know it's this is Israel going into captivity. So they will be terrified and ashamed, period. They will say in that day, comma, let's separate that, then I've got 3 here maybe. Oh, they're trusting, they're trying to say here, what can they do? They would have to flee instead of being delivered to Assyria. To be delivered from the king for Assyria. So a little bit of editing here. The little ones help. They start making sense to me. And you know, are we to flee? To flee. This is just working. Some of this might not be what I end up with. Where we flee, or help to be delivered, the king for Assyria. And then this, almost like it's starting for text that, is this, yep, no, it's too different. Sometimes the next story really is the next text. So, now, where are we to flee for help to be delivered from the king? Okay, so these are going to be like that. Got that. Behold, such is our hope. Where are we to flee? Behold, such is our hope. These words don't. You'd think these guys were writing proper English, but they're using words with double meanings to mean what they're saying. So let me look these up, and this would be in 6. So I got to get the other mouse here, go up here, and say, behold. I could use the word if, how, and then what is such here? So is our hope. Thus, they used this 518 times, but worse just once. And that's the dirty truth. They didn't use the words. They just put in what they wanted to do here. And that's why this Bible program no longer exists. They come to YouTube and seen me back in 1995 posting these telling people and teaching them how corrupt the text is. Now, okay, I see what's going on. I could put the word now here. And for here. And get rid of this word and this word. And get rid of this. Say I added this and added this. They will say that day, now for our hope, we are to, where are we to flee for help to be delivered from the king of Assyria? So, okay. Now, let me take all this text and clean it up. Oops, gotta save that, which means I'm almost done with this video. Yeah, this is what I want. Since I've already cleaned that up, let me put this down here. And this goes to 4. This would be all this. It's already been cleaned. This. Barefoot, naked, ashamed. So what I'm going to do is cut this video short because I have to hit the bathroom. So, but this is going to be the text cleaned up. And I'll show it in the next video at the very beginning and show you what I got and maybe clean it up a little bit better. But I've got to end the video here. Oops, there's supposed to be 2 spaces between here. 2 between here. But you can see the story continues, and I have a better story than what you've seen before. Okay. Don't think I'm going to do another video today, but 3 more tomorrow at least. Hopefully 4.